Hey guys! So we are here to talk about the most anticipated video.
Certainly the most requested video, which is the story of us and how we met and our love story.
But before we get into that, please make sure that you click that subscribe button. Do it right now so you don't forget.
No. We'll wait. Go ahead.
Are you done yet? Did you do it?
I hope so. We gave you time. No excuses now.
So that way we know that you guys want to see more videos like this, and we will for sure create more content on YouTube so you guys can get to know us a little bit better.
Yeah.
So make sure that you click subscribe and share this video with all your friends because we know it's going to be impactful for you guys.
Babe.
What? Okay, stop.
But it's...
Will.
Okay, we're good.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi guys.
Hello.
So we're finally doing the video that you guys have been asking for forever.
How did we meet? And what is our love story?
And how did he convert?
Yeah, but that's not really part of it. Just kidding. It's a big part of it.
So yeah, we reached 100,000 followers on TikTok. So we thought, I think it's time to sit down and do our story time.
And give you what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least a lot of you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
all right.
Let's get into it.
Let's go back almost exactly 11 years. And I had just moved to a little town in British Columbia in Canada. And I was applying for jobs because I was new there. And I happened to walk past this cool looking electronics store no longer in existence, which is Future Shop.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody happened to be working there. So, of course, she completely ignored me, but that's beyond the point. So my first time coming as an employee, I happened to actually see her, and she, again, completely ignored me or didn't even know I existed. I saw her walk past, and I'm not gonna lie, I went to look at the movies, and it was kind of like this, like just looking at the movies and trying to find her, but she had gone, whatever. And I was working as a seasonal there, so it was there from October to the end of December. And in that entire time, she never said one word to me. Time went by, I got laid off, and I got hired back a week later. Lo and behold, I walked into the staff room, and there was she eating her lunch, and Russell Peters was on the TV. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with Russell Peters, he's a brown guy that makes a whole lot of jokes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be quite honest, being as she's brown, Pakistani, I sat down and he was cracking brown jokes. And I wasn't sure what to do because they were really funny, but I didn't want to laugh because I didn't want to offend her. So she actually started to laugh. I started to laugh. Russell Peters, you broke the ice for us, so thank you very much. Also from Toronto, by the way, or at least the GTA.
He basically just asked me about my life, and I feel like he barely talked about himself. And most, I would say, dudes aren't like that. Usually they talk about themselves. And he just asked lots of questions because he knew that I was different. He asked certain things like, do you party?
Interject. She means different, but she didn't wear hijab at that time. And to be quite honest, I thought she was Indian because I knew nothing. I thought that all brown people came from India. Not exactly, but... So I didn't know she was Muslim. I knew, again, this is like the first conversation we ever had. That continued, and I asked a million questions for sure. What was your takeaway from that night?
Well, he asked me questions like, do you party? No. Do you drink? No. Have you ever done drugs? No. Just all those questions like that, like normal people don't really ask. And I was kind of like, this is weird that he's asking me these things. But he was kind of shocked. He was kind of like, I have never met a girl who's never done any of those things. And I was like, and I think you did ask about religion at one point, didn't you?
Yeah.
I feel like you did. And I think at that point he had only ever heard of Muslims, crashing planes into buildings and whatnot. So it was the first time he ever truly met a Muslim. And I think I left a good image for him.
Good impression, for sure.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because I don't know why, but I just kind of went down like the baby mama checklist. if that exists, I don't know. It did for me, because what I wanted out of a wife, and this isn't to be a disrespect to anybody, this is just what I wanted. I didn't want a woman who, or a wife who is all about partying and going to the bar and going to the club, and it just wasn't for me at that time in my life. Again, I was 22 at that time, kind of in the peak of your after teen craziness part of life. So, but I knew that I kind of wanted to find a serious relationship and settle down. And
Mhm.
I don't know if I believe in love at first sight, but certainly when I met her and I spoke to her, I absolutely fell in love with the person that she was, and it just clicked to me. I was like, "That's the one. That is the girl that I want to spend the rest of my life with." And I made my mind up that night. And people say, "Oh, you're crazy. That's impossible. Whatever." But no, it's not.
A couple weeks went by and he started to take an interest in Islam. He was a firm believer that there was no God, and he would ask me questions that were very hard for me to answer, like, why is there suffering in the world? Why are there kids that are handicapped? Why do children die? Why do people kill each other? Religion divides people. And it kind of would get me a little bit stuck, but at the same time, I would be confident enough that I would explain to him, like, this is part of faith. Humans have free will. And there was just a lot of things that I felt like I couldn't answer. So at this point in time, I got him in touch with my dad to get him in touch with a group of Muslim travelers who had come basically to portray the religion, preach the religion.
As well, they do both.
And so that was kind of the first time he ever had met a group of Muslim men. So tell us what happened there.
It's kind of awkward because her dad and her two brother-in-laws picked me up. And of course, like, there wasn't anything between us, so it wasn't really that awkward. But still, knowing that like the three people in the car are like the future family of the girl I would like to be with and like to marry, is a little bit awkward for sure. So we went to, actually, it was a beautiful setting. It was a farm back home, and it was the summertime, and it was the sunset time, and so they called the adhan, and that really had an impact on my heart. And I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it was, but then I saw them stand.
Call to prayer. That was the call to prayer.
Yeah. So I watched them stand and pray, and I saw people of all kinds, black people, brown people. I was the white person, the token white person at the time. But that really had a profound impact on my heart, and it just felt like this was something, and they answered a million of my questions that I had, and it clarified a whole lot. And for myself, I believe that what this was what was right for me, and so I accepted Islam.
And I don't even think he knew that would happen. I think it just, his heart was pulled to it.
That's why I always say that I didn't choose Islam, that it chose me, and I believe that happened. Firmly. Yeah, absolutely.
Because he went there knowing he had all these questions, and he kind of, I'm assuming that you probably wanted to stump those people, but they were able to answer everything so confidently, and I think it just cleared up everything, every like question that he had about Islam.
Well, I mean, the big ones, for sure. But it was more about,
it's a leap of faith.
Yeah, well, it was the unity that these people portrayed, right? That you have like people from all over, and they're all praying together, and they're all united in their faith and their beliefs, and it was just a beautiful thing that I'd never seen before in my life. Like, even just amongst friends, you don't have unity really. So it was one of those, like, the perfect storm of things that all came together at the same time. And then it just drew me to it, and I took my shahada.
Going with, like, after he converted to Islam, we kind of had presented the idea to my parents, and that was a huge no. It was a huge no at the time. My dad loved him, from what I know, and he highly respected him, but he also respected my mom and her wishes, and she was like, straight up no, like, this is not happening. So we had kind of decided at that point to part ways and just work on ourselves, because he was obviously a new Muslim. He didn't know enough, obviously, to like be married and, that kind of stuff. And I had just graduated from high school, and I was off to college and university to complete my degree. So we parted ways, And he spent time learning about Islam, and I spent time in university. And at that time, at the end of university, I actually started to wear hijab. So that's when I embraced hijab, and I started to actually pray 5 times a day. Before that, I never prayed 5 times a day consistently. So I feel like he brought me closer to my religion and my faith, which is kind of incredible because I was born a Muslim, and I feel like Muslims, like speaking for myself, but a lot of us take our religion for granted, and seeing someone embrace Islam when they had never had it growing up really inspired me and made me really realize like this is like there's so much more to life that I'm thinking of, and he opened my eyes. And since that time, I have like never missed any prayers. Like it's incredible like how he changed my life as much as I changed his. And alhamdulillah, like it's been such a big blessing because the more closer we basically came to God, the more closer we became to each other. You know what I mean? So went our separate ways, and then you
yeah,
in that time.
at the same time, I kind of had a few different jobs here and there, whatever. And I spent 40 days with a group of brothers that came from South Africa. One of the most amazing times I've ever had. And we went from Western Canada, we drove all across the country to Eastern Canada. Again, giving dawah, preaching to the Muslims, and really working on myself and working on understanding Islam, working on the fundamentals as much as I could. The next December, myself and one of the brothers from the same area, who has definitely had a profound effect on my religion, we went for 4 months. We went to Bangladesh and Pakistan, and it was all about building your iman, building my faith, and the faith of all of the people around us as well.
And he was at that point so, I would say, like well versed, or became so well versed in Islam that he was giving speeches to hundreds of people. And he was propagating the religion, and he by the time he came back had learned more than I ever knew. Like to this day, I feel like he knows more about Islam than I do. He basically spent all this time, all those years, just learning about Islam. Like that was like I was in university to become a social worker, and he was basically in university, quote unquote, like on the job to become a Muslim. Yeah. And it's incredible, like the amount of knowledge that he learned in that time frame. So much so that when he came back, he started actually leading prayers in our local masjid, calling the adhan, leading the prayers, and reciting really long surahs in Arabic. And just like it's incredible to see how much he grew in those years. It was incredible. And the guy that he went to Pakistan with, he basically became his adoptive dad, like in Islam, because he basically took him under his wing and supported him.
Absolutely.
And did so much for you. And
to the point where he actually came to propose on my behalf after we had came back from Pakistan. To her family. Her dad was like, "Yep, no problem." Her mom was like, just door in the face. If you haven't watched the video that we posted on TikTok about meeting brown parents, it was kind of like that.
Straight up no.
Yeah, but after in the month of Ramadan that year, I spent a lot of time in the masjid, the mosque, and her family would come, and her mom would listen to my adhan, and
she didn't know it was him.
Yeah, well, she found out after the fact, but and
I think she had asked my dad, and had said something like, because the men and women are separate, like we can't see the men and the men can't see us in the mosque. And she had, I think she had asked my dad, who is this guy that has this amazing voice, giving the adhan. And then
lo and behold,
she secretly found out between my dad and her. My dad was like, yeah, that's him, the boy that wants to propose, or the boy that wants to marry your daughter. And my mom and him developed a relationship together, a secret relationship that I didn't know about.
So what she would do is I was doing i'tikaf in the masjid for the last 10 days of Ramadan, so I was staying in the mosque. So she would make her her dad bring me food so that I could break my fast and eat in the morning and stuff. And then, she would slip in a letter, and it was pretty amazing. I had never actually sat with her, like her mom.
She had never met him.
No, she met me once. I don't know if I told you that, but
what?
I brought flowers. But she's
Oh.
like, yeah, no, no,
Really?
yeah, okay, long time ago. Um, but that was the amazing part, is that we never actually met. But she literally, I don't know why I didn't keep it or whatever, but it was on a scrap piece of paper or something, and she wrote a letter to me and said that like she would be honored if I would marry her daughter. And this is the one of the miracles of faith, is that, you know, she came across the verse of the Quran. I don't recall which one it was in particular, but it was about like giving second chances or not judging someone right away without having like knowing. um, and so
Mm.
that point, she her mom, actually, I gave her a journal. I said, I don't really have anything to give you, you're so kind to me, you know, giving me food and everything. So I had actually kept a journal of my travels in Pakistan and Bangladesh, and so I gave it to her to read, and I think I got it back like probably 4 or 5 years later. um, but you know, so she invited me to come for their Eid with her family, and that was probably like the most awkward time, because it's like meeting everyone, right? Her sisters, her brother-in-laws, her mom, her dad, and sitting together. So it was,
It was like a job interview, but like
yeah,
they were interviewing him to become my husband. Like flash forward, that was Ramadan, and then Eid we met him, and then the next Eid we were married. Like
yeah.
that's how fast it
We
happened.
were
It
married
happened
yeah,
so
on
fast.
the day of Arafah.
Literally so
Um,
fast. Like both Eids, between one Eid, they met him. My mom met him. We developed a relationship and we became one big happy family. And literally the next Eid, after just a few months, we were married.
yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
So it was an interesting journey, that she is the reason, I wouldn't say the reason, right? But she was the thing that brought me to Islam, and I'm the thing that brought her to Islam. So that's why our faith plays such a predominant role in our lives, is because that's what brought us together. And that's truly
Literally.
what we believe, is that once we decided, you know what, we need to work on ourselves, Allah made everything easy for us.
Yeah.
Everything was so easy.
It was like every prayer that I had ever made came true, which he now gives speeches everywhere so eloquently, and he's so well spoken about the religion. He's literally won awards, like community awards, for unifying people and, you know, interfaith projects and things like that. It's amazing to see how we both came closer to God by become like knowing one another. And now flash forward all these years later, we're married with 2 kids.
Married for 6 years.
Yeah,
Over 6 years.
married for 6 years and moved across the country. And now this is inshallah, our new job is, you know.
Well, right now we're quarantined like everybody else, or house arrest, or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. So we figure what better time than right now to do this.
Create content
yeah.
and share our story and hopefully influence other people's lives. There's been countless messages from you guys in similar situations, and we feel so honored that you guys feel close enough to us, or that you feel like safe enough to come to us and ask us about our story and talk about your struggles and have us kind of give you advice. And every single time we've said the same thing. We've said, come closer to God, because that's ultimately what's going to, you know, help your decision and who you're going to marry.
A quick example: make a triangle, quickly. Okay, so this is Allah. That's not a triangle. That's a diamond. This is Allah. This is God, and this is us. This is you and whoever you want, right? The further you are from God, the further you both will be apart from each other. But the closer to God you come, the closer you guys will come to one another.
And it might take years, like in our situation, it literally took years.
It took 5 years.
5 years. And you guys think about it, that was a long time. And for us to still remain like heart to heart, like it was hard, obviously, very hard. But we knew our ultimate goal. And really, yeah, we knew that we wanted to be together one day, and we knew that we had to take that time.
It's just what we knew, what we want, and we basically made a promise to each other that, you know what, whatever we have to do, that's what we'll that's what we'll do. You know, and I always kind of had this, that people would say, oh, he just converted to marry her and all that sort of stuff, and I said that to my best friend. I said, man, you know, I hear this, like people say, oh, he just converted to marry her, whatever. And he looked at me and he was kind of like taken aback. Like, this guy is amazing person from a rough background, born Muslim. But he looked at me and he said, man, he said, even if that was right, even if that was
Mhm.
true, he's like,
Mhm.
look at you now.
I know.
He's like, look at you now. He's like, you
I
lead the
know.
salah in the masjid. You give speeches to hundreds of people, thousands of people in some instances, about bringing faith, about unity, about bringing people together. He's like, even if you did, he's like,
Mhm.
forget about all that because look at you now.
Mhm.
And I thought about that, and I was like, wow.
And
I
how
was
many
like,
lives he's impacted, and how many people he has been able to influence to come closer to God. It's
yeah,
literally amazing.
it's definitely been
It's
an amazing journey. I mean,
yeah,
obviously,
it's
this is
incredible.
our life summarized, but
Mhm.
yeah, now we're kind of looking into the future
Mhm.
and where we go from here and what we want to do. Obviously,
Mhm.
if, for those of you that don't know us, we have
Mhm.
our Saleh family travels on Instagram,
Mhm.
so you should go and check that out. It's a little
Mhm.
bit slow with the not allowed to travel part, but we're slowly working at that one. Again, we're on TikTok,
Mhm.
Saleh family,
Yeah.
and then the YouTube as well, which is, I
Mhm.
think this is our first actual family video for YouTube. But
Mhm.
we thought, you know what, everybody wants to hear it. We can't do it in 15 seconds or a minute on
Mhm.
TikTok. So what better way than to do it on YouTube? So for sure, you know, like drop us a comment below
Mhm.
and tell us, you know, what you guys think of our story and how it relates to you, or if you're in the same situation or whatever. You know, we have, like she said, like over 100,000 followers on TikTok. YouTube, this is like the first video. Like I said, Instagram is in its infancy. So right now is the best time, because as things grow, the comments tend to get lost along the way. So for that engagement, you know, we definitely, we try to reply to every comment and give, even
We
if
read
it's,
every
yeah,
comment for
for
sure. Yeah.
even if it's a private message, you know,
Yeah.
we definitely, we try to hit you back
Yeah.
and give at least whatever advice we can. And like she said, the best advice we can give is that the closer you become to God, to Allah, it's like, you know, I'm sure most of the Muslims out there, they know the narration that if you come to God walking, He comes to you running.
Yeah.
And it's so true that
100%. That's what happened to
yeah,
us. It's unbelievable. Like, I look back at what my life used to be like before, and I feel like I was Muslim, but I was never fulfilled. I never truly felt that peace until I really
met this crazy white boy.
started actually looking inward, you know, dressing a certain way, acting a certain way, that type of thing. And so it's truly a miracle in itself. It really is. Our relationship has changed lives. Like, it really has. It's changed, you know, like my parents' lives. It's changed obviously our children's lives. It's changed our lives. It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's really cool.
2 peas in a pod.
Yeah. Like, we spend all of our time together, and there's nothing more that we want to do except spend time together. So being able to have TikTok really gives us that ability to spend time together. And
thank you, TikTok.
thank you, TikTok.
Thank you, you guys.
Yes,
for making it possible.
Yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate you guys, and hope that we will continue doing these videos. If you guys enjoy this, feel free to share it with somebody.
Don't feel free, just do it. It helps us. Come on.
Comment, like, and don't forget to subscribe, because that obviously will tell us that you guys want to see more of us.
Yeah, and again, like, thank you all for everything. We love your comments. We love how you guys love us.
Yeah, and we love this community. You guys are incredible. You guys are so supportive, and it really